No, this is not what you need in the building. This is actually Christ I Am Disciple. How's everybody doing? I'm Christ I Am Disciple. Watch my channel. All praise be to the Most High God. The Most High God comes first. Check it out. I know it's just an iconography, and I know it's not the right color, but I'm just saying. Let's get into it. James Gunn puts up a picture with him and Zack Snyder. They had a meeting. Apparently, they had a meeting in a boardroom, a conference meeting. Now, I don't know what that means, but I could tell you this. I can assume. I know Zack Snyder is not going to be working for James Gunn. I don't think he's going to be doing anything under James Gunn in terms of the DCU. I don't think that's what that's about. I think James Gunn is trying to open up the Black Label line, Elseworld. And I think he may either be proposing to Zack Snyder that he restores the Snyderverse through there, or he may be proposing some project that Zack Snyder wants to do there. It's something like that that's going on. It was reported that they had this meeting. So they're literally looking to do business together. Now, I wish James Gunn had done this from the beginning. I wish he had done this from the get-go. There's some other report that James Gunn's movie, the Superman movie, is getting a lot of views and highlights over it. And again, man, I'm not going to knock nothing. If that's the case, good for him. But honestly speaking, some people are saying this is the desperation move. I get it. Trust me, I get it. He hasn't been getting good PR as far as I'm concerned. But having said that, James Gunn had an opportunity and still has that opportunity to, I'm not saying he's going to take it, but he has that opportunity to really make DC something. But what he has to learn is you can't be doing everything yourself, and you can't be trying to hoard everything to you. You have a successful DC head doesn't have to be a successful director. This is the thing that I don't understand why James Gunn doesn't get this. He's in a capacity as a DC head. He don't got to personally go there and do movies. Shout out to Davian Anton Vincent, man. Good morning, Anderson. What's up, my bro? It's good to see you. Smash the like button if you would, just to help me out with my algorithm. Yeah. I put out another stream here, but it was YouTube took it down. I was in the middle of a stream talking about Superman. But here I'm talking about James Gunn, particularly, and Zack Snyder. Now, of course, we are of the mindset that we don't want Zack anywhere near James Gunn because, he could double time him and do him in. We see what's happening with Matt Reeves. We see what's happening with other people. Superman and Lewis movies, everything was shut down, and James Gunn should focus on his thing. But obviously, that's not working. And informally, we already heard that David Zaslav was like, if this Superman movie don't work, we ain't going to have no DCU. And another thing is, not only will we not have no DCU, but also we're not going to be, we may just do the Snyderverse. Shit, right? Now, it's a rumor more than anything else. But nonetheless, Zaslav has been selling off a lot of things just to try to make Warner Brothers break even. Now, imagine if he had just followed the mandate, put Zack Snyder Justice League out in cinemas, and then continued the Snyderverse. And wouldn't be in this position right now. We all know this. Everybody who is a DC fan, and we're able to separate now fake DC fans from I was just having a Twitter war with somebody. Well, it's not a war, it's a discussion, but dude was trying to tell us, for those of you who have read comics, dude was trying to tell us that Kingdom Come Superman is the best Superman ever. He starts going on about Alex Ross paintings and stuff. If you go and read this Kingdom Come comic, and I just recently read it again, just to make for confirmation, that was one of the worst Superman ever. Why? Because one, he abandoned mankind. And then two, his humanity. He wasn't in touch with his humanity, and he was constantly making decisions for mankind. And because of that, he ended up in a situation where he didn't know what to do. Wonder Woman took over, okay, for a minute, right? And in the end, it cost a lot of lives, okay? Because he abandoned mankind, it cost millions and millions of lives. And then on top of that, the gulag that they made, this prison for these people to get them reformed, it was backfiring. It backfired so bad that there was about to be a prison break, okay? And then Shazam came, and the human beings launched nuclear weapons, and Shazam blocked the nuclear weapons from happening, but still a lot of people died. A lot of metahumans died. And Superman, do you know what he did? He charged towards the United Nations building. Of course, Spectre was the one, with the guy named Norman McKay. And Superman charges to the UN building. He's going to kill everybody in the United Nations for launching the nukes. That's what he was going to do. Has anybody read Kingdom Come? Mark Waid and Alex Ross. Alex Ross did the illustration. Mark Waid did the story. He was about to kill everybody. And what happened? It was Norman who intervened, and he told Superman, "What are you doing, bro? When you abandoned mankind, you forgot your humanity. Your problem is you forgot what humanity's like." Because, of course, this Superman, Lois Lane and the Kents are all dead, and he outlived them and all of that. And so Wonder Woman was more the person who used to come and visit him. And long story short, you guys need to go read the comic, okay? I'm not going to give you the whole comic. But it's a really interesting comic because at the end of the day, Superman finds back his humanity and realizes he's not there to lead mankind and make decisions for them. He is there to work with them, and they should have been a part of the decision-making process. This dude tried to tell me that Kingdom Come Superman is better than Henry Cavill Superman. Don't forget to smash the like button, people. Why are you watching this video and you're not smashing the like button? Show some love, man. Anyway, for those of you who will see this stream later on, so don't forget to smash the like button. Show me some love. And this is brought to you by LIVE Products. LIVE, live now. We're live now. I got a lot of drinks, punches, and I also have cleaning products, okay? If you're in the Trinidad and Tobago area, you want one of these products, don't forget that you can just simply call or WhatsApp whatever you see in the description, okay? All right, so back to what I was saying. The point I'm making is, how can you say that about Henry Cavill Superman? Henry Cavill Superman, didn't he surrender to mankind? Didn't he surrender to General Zod wanted him? He surrendered to mankind, right? So he shows immediately, I'm willing to work with you guys, regardless. I want to see the world survive, so I'm going to do whatever it takes to work with you. He then works with General Swanwick and Colonel Hardy and the military, who call him Superman, where he uses his Kryptonian little ship, the little vessel he came in, to create a black hole. So they were to drop that vessel into the Kryptonian ship while he goes to the Indian Ocean to take on the World Engine. You remember that, guys? He's working with mankind. In fact, in BVS, he does it again. When Senator Finch asks him to come to the hearings, because we don't want you operating unilaterally. You got their governments, their people, you got to respect them. He did that. He went to the hearing. Yeah, it blew up, but the point is he went. He was willing to work with mankind. That was not the case with Kingdom Come Superman. A lot of you guys don't remember the stories. Y'all may have read the comics, but you don't remember them. So all this criticism that Henry Cavill gets for abandoning mankind in BVS. Well, guess what? 10 years. Kingdom Come 12 years. Kingdom Come Superman abandoned the world. So what would you say? And for less. It was for less. Right? It's like crazy, man. When I hear the hypocrisy of these people, they talk about Henry Cavill, snapping General Zod's neck as that's the greatest crime in the world. Yet Christopher Reeve Superman could be smiling while he's killing General Zod. He throws him to his death. And not only that, but let's not forget this point. Triumphant Superman music is playing in the background at the same freaking time. Then Lois Lane, when she sees what Superman did, she grabs Ursula and she punches her off of the ice block and she falls to her death. And in triumphant music, Superman laughs. He laughs. And then they go and embrace each other. This is maniac. It's like genocidal. It's crazy what they did. But we praise that Superman. We say that's the best Superman on the screen. Henry Cavill Superman, second to Christopher Reeve Superman. And meanwhile, Christopher Reeve Superman is doing all these crazy, just dehumanizing shit, yeah, ladies and gentlemen. And y'all don't criticize him for it. Y'all are so hypocritical. I showed how Jonathan Kent, from the comic Superman issue #1, I showed how Jonathan Kent, he's protective of Superman. What you saw in Man of Steel is literally in Superman issue #1 of 1939, I think it was, or whatever it was. It's literally there. His parents are literally warning him to hide his strengths or his abilities or his powers because the world would become scared of him. He had to hide it until he had an alternate personality, which was called Superman. Okay? So what people don't realize is Jonathan Kent's death, they're saying, I'm hearing all these detractors saying it was a useless death. I'm like, what are you talking about? Was it not for Jonathan Kent dying for that cause to protect his son? First of all, his son would have become Superman. He wouldn't have become Superman because he would have never discovered his father and the ship and all of that stuff, because guess what? He'd be somewhere in a government lab or something, or running for his life as a metahuman because they're hunting him down. And the whole world, everybody would know who he is because they know Clark Kent is this superpower being. And then they find out he's an alien. Oh my God, it would have gone nuts. Okay. Even Perry White, right? Perry White was saying, do you know what would happen if people knew that it was a Superman? He's like, it would scare people. Somebody with that kind of power who's not being checked. It's power unchecked, and power unchecked is always dangerous. Right? So this is not rocket science. And then we keep on forgetting with the tornado. And by the way, I must say, Jonathan Kent was very consistent. He was consistent. He said, maybe you shouldn't save them because this is bigger than you, me, my family, and so on. This is a big, big thing that's being kept under the hush-hush, and you don't want you above the radar. He was willing to sacrifice his life so that his son would keep the words that he said. Your identity must not be known by the public. Then you become personal enemy #1, and they're looking to eradicate you, which is exactly what happened in BVS, right? But the good news was they didn't know that Superman was Clark Kent. Only a handful of people, Lois Lane, Bruce Wayne, Lex Luthor knew that. It was a handful of people. And it was only by the end of the movie that Bruce Wayne knew that, right? So I'm just saying that you don't want the public to know this. You don't. That you're an alien from outer space? Now you're a target, your personal target #1. Anything happens, they blame you. That's just the way our people are. Not only do they blame you, but they're afraid of you because they don't know what you're capable of. And basically in Superman issue #1, that's exactly what his parents told him. And they said, when the time is right, you will use those strengths to help people, which is the same thing Jonathan Kent said to little Clark when he was in the barn with the Kryptonian ship. He said, but the day will come when you will see these gifts as a blessing and you will have to make a choice, right? So I'm just saying that Man of Steel is more like Superman comic #1. I'm not there are differences. I went into it somewhere. I think I did it online or something. There are differences, but the point is Superman issue #1, literally speaking, Man of Steel falls in line with that. Unlike, and I hate to do this, but I'm going to do it. Unlike Superman 1978, where his father says something a little bit more divergent, but still in keeping sort of with the general theme that he still wants his son to sort of suppress his powers, meaning he didn't want his son. He said, if you're going to run a race, don't try to come first. You want to be the greatest. No, because you'll stand out too much. Right. So I'm just saying that a lot of people out here be very hypocritical. Now, what James Gunn and Zack Snyder, let's get back to that real quick. James Gunn, he came out and he said nothing, right? He just showed a picture of him and Zack Snyder. And then we get a little background information that it seems as though they were discussing something in a board meeting. Zack Snyder is not doing any DC movies. He's doing 300. 300 is not a DC movie, right? It's a Frank Miller movie, and it's not a movie even. It's a TV series. But Zack Snyder's on the WB lot. He's been on the WB lot for a good minute, right? This year. Now, the question is, and, Zack he has a very nice relationship with Abdi and DeLuca. And I have the feeling that he's a contingency for if James Gunn's DCU falls apart. Nobody's disputing that. But I think also he's also there. And if James Gunn is smart, which I think he's a smart guy, I think James Gunn is realizing in his mind, I need to get this guy somehow associated with me, because there's three different reasons. One, he's realizing the power of the Snyderverse, the Snyder fan base. The Snyder fan base is huge. But then on top of that, it's not just Snyder fans that are speaking bad about his promotion of his movie. Gunn fans are even saying it. DC fans who hate the Snyderverse are saying it. And then the general audience. When Joe Rogan dropped that video and he was talking all that shit about Gunn's movie, the general audience doesn't buy it. Now, here's the weird thing. They're saying that, this movie's getting a lot of attention. A lot of people know about the upcoming Superman movie. But is it good attention? So if I was James Gunn right now, I'd be trying to be as inclusive. I'm going to reverse everything I was doing before, and I'm going to try and get a W. Because if Superman flops, that's pretty much it for me. Okay. So to get a W, he should have been backing Matt Reeves. He should have been pushing for Matt Reeves to do his own thing. No notes. Don't give Matt Reeves no damn notes. Yes, you're DC head, but you got a confidence in your directors. This is a seasoned director. He did Planet of the Apes. He did I think, what do you call it? That Leaf thing. I forgot what the name of it is. 2 successful box offices when it comes to that thing, that Leaf thing. I can't remember what the name of it is. You guys know what it is. Not Lotus. It's I can't remember it right now. But he's been a successful director. Okay. So this is not some rookie. This is a seasoned guy. Don't need to take no notes from you, okay? He already had a successful Batman movie. You leave him alone to do his thing. He's supposed to do a trilogy. Let a man do his trilogy. You know what I'm saying? It's what it is. Just let it go. Let it do. Zack Snyder. Shout out to South Cali guy. Zack Snyder. Come on, man. The last DC movie this dude didn't even get to go into theaters, and it is his highest critically. Is it his highest? No, it's his second highest or his third highest critically acclaimed movie. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, come on now. Shout out to South Cali guy, man. You be dropping some gems on us though. I gotta say, and I didn't know you was in BVS, bro. Anyway, we're gonna talk about that some other time. But yeah, the other thing, ladies and gentlemen, is. This is Zack Snyder we're talking about. The guy builds worlds. The guy, he's really good at that. Say what you want about Rebel Moon, about the Armyverse, about Twilight of the Gods. This guy brings excitement. Twilight of the Gods, everybody liked it. That was another one that was not critically panned, so even the critics liked it. Army of the Dead wasn't too bad. Zack Snyder been doing it. This guy just keep on producing universe after universe. How many universes does this guy have? He has the zombie universe, right? The Army of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead, all that kind of thing, right? He got the Rebel Moon universe. He got the Twilight of the Gods universe. And he got the freaking Snyderverse, which is, I'm talking about Zack Snyder Justice League stuff. Then he got the 300 verse. You see how many verses this guy has? It's crazy, man. Shout out to South Cali, hailing out Damian Anton Vincent, man. This guy got this. That's what he does, man. Who else got so many universes? Think about it. This is what he do. Christopher Nolan knew what he was doing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you guys, man. It's good to see you guys. I want to hear what you guys had to think about the picture with James Gunn and Zack Snyder. I'm trying to be positive about this because I know We don't take shit from nobody. I've seen what y'all are saying on Twitter. We know it's the end game. We know it's over. We know it's over. We know Superman's not going to do. We know. All right. So I'm trying to hopefully knock some sense into these guys' heads, because it's like, you have been failing since you became DC head. Everything, the only thing I think that did well, I don't know how well it did, was Peacemaker. His Suicide Squad movie failed, as far as I'm concerned, in terms of box office. That's where the money comes. I don't want to hear about no ratings. I don't want to hear about viewership numbers. I care about subscriptions. That's where the money comes. And I care about, what you call that thing? Box office. You tell me about box office, home box office. You tell me about, theatrical box office. You tell me about subscribers. Okay. When the Snyder Cut came out, do you guys know that the subscriptions to HBO Max rose by a significant number? I can't remember what the number is. And also, there was a whole bunch of downloads of HBO Max. It was record numbers. Okay. Nobody talks about that. And that's what matters. It's not the It's not the viewership numbers, which is cool. It's good to know people viewing things, but there's a reason when you want people to subscribe more. That means the Snyder Cut was so momentous and big. It was a huge thing. Guys, you've been a part of a very huge thing. It's a big deal. It's a history making in war. This has never happened that rapidly. Okay. Far less, almost a complete vision the director wanted. South Cali guy says Grace Randolph just came out this morning saying there's a DC Studios meeting of some kind taking place this weekend, but in regards to who knows what announcements are being made. If James Gunn can get the Snyderverse restored, or Warner Brothers, whoever, somebody needs to stand up and fight inside of there for that. Things are going to be a lot different for Warner Brothers all of a sudden. It's going to be a totally different picture. But they have to do that because that's what people really are excited about. They're also excited about Matt Reeves' Batman. They're also excited about Constantine. We want to see Constantine as well out there. You know what I'm saying? A part of me thinks Zack is possibly going to do something. Oh yeah, he's talking to James Gunn, so it's obvious. But I think Abdi and DeLuca have much more to do with that than James. I think James has kind of been backed into. I wouldn't be surprised he's backed into a corner, and he has to figure out how to make a win out of the situation. And if you're DC head and I don't know why these people are so stupid. James Gunn has the golden ticket. All he has to do is start speaking about the Snyderverse and wanting to see it restored. That's what he has to do. That's all you got to do, homie. And it's over, right? And people will call you the savior of DC and all this shit, even though you fucked up majorly. They'll call you the savior of DC because that's what everybody's waiting for. Everybody wants that. And even all the people who keep on chastising us online, which is very funny to hear them saying, oh, the Snyderverse is dead and this, and they keep on coming on. And all I do now, I don't even respond to them. I just hit them with the restore the Snyderverse hashtag and I keep it moving, right? But the point is, South Cali guy says, a part of me thinks Zack is possibly going to do some, definitely he's going to do some DC. That's not if, but maybe it's the Snyderverse related or DC. I don't think it's going to be anything to do with the DCU. It may be some sort of black label or Elseworld something. He's not going to be in the same playground with James Gunn. No matter what, he's not going to be. I don't think so. He's too experienced a director to take notes from James Gunn. That's the problem. James Gunn, whatever's in James Gunn's universe is going to be under James Gunn's control completely. Like he's going to decide how he wants to carry that out. And more than likely, he's going to try and carry it out like how Marvel carries it out. So if Zack Snyder, like Matt Reeves' universe, not supposed to be touched by James Gunn. Matt Reeves is supposed to be able to make the creative decisions for what he wants to do with his Batman. And why is it that these directors and these people don't get it that DC has the multiverse? You can have, just like with comic books, you have multiple runs going with multiple different stories. You can have multiple Superman. They hired J.J. Abrams to do a black Superman movie, right? It's still on. Okay. And James Gunn tried to clear the air, obviously, so he could see if he could get his Superman to launch without any interference. But really and truly, he shouldn't have been. You should have kept Superman and Lewis going, and you're introducing this Superman. People are not going to be confused because that's the way comic books are. Real comic book fans, and the fans will educate the public because this whole Snyderverse drive was started by fans. It wasn't started by the general audience. It's our excitement that drives this stuff. We're always the people that drive this stuff. That's why you got fans. That's why you got Comic-Con, right? So the general audience will toe the line with whatever the excitement. When fans are excited about something, not fake excitement, like how they're trying to, real excitement, people know. And when they see it with their eyes, that's where the buzz begins. When they realize, oh, this thing's a little different. You know what I mean? Damian Anton Vincent says, part of me also thinks Gunn is trying to get the Snyder fans to see Superman in July. That's going to be a hard ask because Snyder fans have a certain taste. And we don't really like a lot of jokes. Like, he doesn't understand that. I'm not saying, I'll be really honest with you guys, right? When I saw, now I'm going to laugh a little bit, but when I saw the Green Lantern thing he did for the Super Bowl, the guy with the bowl and his face doing it, I started laughing. But I didn't laugh because it was funny. I laughed because it was pathetic. And I'm watching this guy do up his face and stuff. I know people do this stuff when it's kind of like a surrender. It's sort of like, okay, have it your way. I'm just gonna be Looney Tunes from here on in. You know, it's kind of like a quit and like a cop out. And the funny thing about it was how people reacted to it. Like seeing people react. It's so funny. It's still funny to me how people were reacting to this is supposed to be the Super Bowl. So this is supposed to be the pinnacle. And then this comes out. It's so anticlimactic. It's so funny. It had me rolling. I was laughing nonstop online, man. That was too funny for me. And see people, even Gunn fans, even people who are fans of James Gunn was trying what's going on? It was funny to me. It was hilarious. And then, of course, the suit doesn't look that great. But I'll say this. Damian Antovisis says stock price was $77.27 on March 19, 2021. WB's highest stock. You know why, though? And listen, if they restore the Snyderverse, that stock's going to keep on going up again. It's going to start going back up. I don't know why they don't realize this. Like, the buzz on the Snyderverse is real. It's legit. Like, people actually believe in that thing. And people came around. The reason why I think also Zack Snyder Justice League did so well, people started coming around to the fact that these movies had value in them, that they actually had to say something. And for too long, we have these pointless, comedy-driven, yes, they have the moral of the story kind of thing going on for them, but it's more emotional movies, and it's not movies that really leave the cinema feeling any different. Like I learned something here, really substantial, like something a life lesson. I don't know how many people realize how big BVS is. BVS is a crazy movie. It is an insane movie when it comes to content, in my opinion. Okay, and my eyes are opening more and more to the world, and as my eyes open to the illusion that we've been in, I begin to realize how much BVS was speaking to that. And that film is how old now? It's like, how old is it? It's like almost 9 years old. That film is almost 9 years old. In the month of March, I think the 16th of March or somewhere thereabout, it'll be 9 years old. That movie's old. And that movie literally is describing to the letter what's happening right now, which is crazy. It's crazy. My eyes are open. Damian Antovisis says, restore the Snyderverse. Sal Cali says, exactly. You can have it all. We can have it. This is the thing. This is DC. Why is it that they don't understand that DC fans are picky people. We just are. We are. We are a certain type of personality. And our personality type is we're nerds, but we're picky. We're picky, 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 picky. So some DC fans, they like the Batman 1966. They like the Superman 1978. They like the CW. They like the Lewis and Clark. They like funny stuff. They like stuff that's you know the magic of Superman. You know how Superman can have powers and then he could de-power himself. You know what I'm saying? They like that kind of stuff. They don't really want. And then you got those fans out there in DC who are really looking for something that is worth their while. They're not really, they shop around. Okay, I'm going to go to, let me see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Let me go see this. Okay. But they're not like, it doesn't vibrate with them because they're adults. They're people, or not even adults. Some of them are children. Some of them are teenagers, but they're aware. Their minds are open to the world. And so they don't just want any kind of entertainment out there. They want something a little bit substantial. So people don't understand why we you know how long people wanted to see a Constantine 2? Because Constantine it caught people's attention. It was a sleeper in a kind of way, you know? You look at The Accountant, for example. The Accountant, and I challenge anybody to go watch The Accountant and not enjoy it. It's an incredible film, you know? And that's why I'm looking for The Accountant 2. I don't know if it can live up to the first Accountant, but I think it's a hell of a movie. The first one was great. You know what I'm saying? And that's the kind of movies we like. Okay. And it's not just Snyder stuff. Todd Phillips' Joker. That Batman movie. What is it? Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight. You know, The Dark Knight was an incredible movie. And I'm not a big fan of Christopher Nolan's Batman, but I gotta admit, The Dark Knight was great. Okay. And I watched it just recently and I just realized how great it was. You know, how they introduced the Joker and everything it was great. And the point I'm making is there's certain movies that people gravitate towards. When I, like most of you, when I heard that there was going to be another Superman movie, I remember Superman Returns, I wasn't necessarily impressed with it. It began kind of Gladiator style, the trailers, and I was like, okay, yeah, okay. Kind of feels, you get that feel of Gladiator, right? When you're hearing it, the singing and all that stuff. The thing that got me was learning something about Superman that was kind of known, but not really. And that changed the whole game for me. The glyph on his chest, the fact that he would use a glyph. And it was a glyph. It wasn't an S, you know. To me, that told me this director, or whoever these people are behind this movie, they're not just superficial. They're not just going on the surface. They're going somewhere deeper. And from then on in, and as a Christian, I was roped in, right? And that's something, I was doing research. I wasn't watching comic book movies anymore. I thought that was for children. You know, I enjoyed X-Men. I enjoyed the X-Men movies and that kind of stuff, but I didn't really enjoy Marvel that much. My brother he loved 300 and he loved Marvel. And I was like, I was never really a great fan of 300. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm going to go back and watch it again. I did watch it again, and I realized it had a lot of lore and a lot of, you know, a lot of substance to it. So I have to go back and watch it again. But the point is, I wasn't a great fan of 300. I was not a great fan of the Avengers when they came out. My brother was raving. Look at the Avengers. And I watched it and I was like, they kind of look like the comic books. Yeah, they kind of do. But I don't like that. I just don't like a whole bunch of jokes in between my stuff. I'm just that kind of guy. You know, I'm a funny guy. I enjoy comedies. I enjoy those things, but I just don't enjoy in a superhero movie people just throwing jokes all the time. I know Spider-Man does that. You know, he throws jabs all the time. I know Deadpool does that. I know Harley Quinn does that. But they're insane. Okay, Harley Quinn's nuts. Okay, Deadpool's death-proof. Spider-Man, he's just a chatterbox. This is what it is, right? But ultimately, in the end, not every superhero talks in between fighting. That's just not what happens. And in DC particularly, it really does happen. If you grew up on DC, if you watched whether it's JLU or Superman, the animated series, or you watched Batman, the animated series, they don't do a lot of talking while they fighting. They just don't. And that's the animation. We haven't even started to talk about live action, right? Maybe you get a one-liner, right? Michael Keaton's Batman killed everybody, right? He blew out people. He turned the car around and burned a guy to a crisp. You see the guy stumbling off, on fire, right? That's DC, okay? Just what it is. DC used to be light and funny at a certain point in time. Batman 66 and Superman 1978. But even Superman 1978 had a dark moment when Lewis died, and even Superman 2 had some dark moments. And if you watch the Donner cut of Superman 2, it's even darker than that other, whatever that thing is that they put out, right? So I don't understand, and everybody knows that, yes, okay, Aquaman had some dark moments in it with the trench and stuff, and Aquaman was more of an adventure, kind of like Indiana Jones, kind of like Pirates of the Caribbean sort of feel. But even Aquaman was kind of dark, right? It was lighter than maybe the other ones, but it was dark. Wonder Woman was dark because it was war, and people were dying all around her, right? So, and the whole village got bombed and shit. These are dark movies. Why is it that dark is bad? I don't get that part. You know what I'm saying? So, Callie, Damien Antivisit says, sunlight, is that a globe? You're laughing. Very picky. Yes, DC fans are very picky. We are very picky because I think the reason is we expect so much. And then the other thing about DC is, okay, in Marvel, now I come from the 80s and the 70s, okay? So when I used to read comics all the way back then, the major Marvel players were people like the Hulk, Thor, Captain America. There was no Iron Man. We didn't know about Iron Man. That was a side character, right? And he was Star Wars. And there was G.I. Joe. Those were, well, they later became Marvel. They were something else, but they became Marvel, right? So the point I'm making is those are the major players. And still to this day, if you look at Marvel, they don't play around with, well, look at what's happening with Captain America right now. That's how picky people are. That's how passionate they are about Captain America, okay? You look at what happened with Thor. Thor had a very difficult time. Thor, The Dark World, which to me is probably one of the better Thor movies, they bashed that thing to the ground. That's how Thor. Now, if you got minor characters like Guardians of the Galaxy, when you have minor characters like help me out here. These minor characters that they highlight now and they make move, Ant-Man and so on, right? These are minor characters. They do well and they prosper well because people don't really know much about them. They're not very passionate about them. Even Iron Man. Iron Man came out of the clear blue sky, right? Iron Man wasn't a thing, right? So when you talk about Superman, which is way more popular figure than Iron Man and Thor and even the Hulk and all these other guys, right? You're talking about an icon. So people are very passionate about Superman. The reason why Superman has a harder time getting box office than Batman or than maybe any other character, even Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman did better than Superman in the box office. You know why? Because Wonder Woman, first of all, never been on the screen and is not as popular as Superman. The S of Superman next to the cross is the most popular symbol out there. That's how popular Superman is. So Superman always has an uphill climb to make box office because a lot of people know the symbol. That a lot of people all over the world know who Superman is. Well, I don't know so much today because the youngsters grow up on Marvel, but Superman's a major sort of figure, man. And so David Antovisis need release Constantine, Man of Steel, BVS, David Ayer, Suicide, Wonder Woman Extended Cut, and Zack Snyder just. I agree. And they'll make money. They'll just make money. They make 20 million, 30 million, maybe even 100 million. They'll make money because these sort of films are what a lot of DC audience think about and want. They want a more, and you know, some people say, well, everybody's not dark like Batman. I understand that, but it's still, DC tends to be more serious with their characters. They don't spoof and joke around with them unless they're spoofy, jokey characters like Shazam, like Harley Quinn, Plastic Man, which I hear they're trying to make a horror out of, which is okay, that's a different take. And again, I'm not against that because DC, if you look at the comics, they give different takes on a character. So different takes is not wrong. For all those Puritans saying it's not canon, it's not canon, it's not canon, that's nonsense. I'll tell you why. Because comics are comics. Live action is live action. Animation is animation. You have to leave room for creativity, for the writer to write something, to say something more on this character, to tell a deeper story, to tell a further story. I don't want to have a complete equal adaptations of characters from the comics. That's stupid. In live action, I know they do it in animation, but it's not necessary. You can tell stories. It's about storytelling. You know, I don't want to hear the same story I just read in a comic book on the screen. No, I expect you to deviate from it somewhat, but to keep the integrity of the character. As I was trying to explain to people, Batman is, a lot of people misunderstand Batman and they misdiagnose Batman. And people who think they're authorities on it, they start to talk about he doesn't use guns and he doesn't kill. Well, listen, man, that's still, when you look at all the variations of Batman across there are certain things that are hard and fast. And you have to look at all the iterations. Don't tell me about canon. David Antiphis says the first emoji fireworks, second is a bowl of rice. Oh, I'll play on Gunn's Green Lantern. And there's me laughing at Gunn. Man, James Gunn, I don't know, man. What dude tried, but he's never been in that position. He's never been a CEO of anything, so he's totally inexperienced. I don't know why he jumped at it. He should have probably just kept on directing. Let Abdi and DeLuca do their thing, and I know they had under strain, but get somebody else to help them distribute the load. It is what it is, though. But we are close, I think, to seeing the Snyderverse restored, because obviously Warner Brothers is not making money off of what they're doing, and at no time has their Marvelization of DC actually borne them returns. And I will say this on this live stream. I already said it before in other streams, but they look really stupid now that Deadpool is doing so well, because Deadpool and Wolverine showed us that you can cross over and keep the integrity of characters and their universe. Wolverine comes from the X-Men universe. They don't do jokes. X-Men doesn't do jokes. Y'all pay attention now. The MCU does jokes, not X-Men. And they kept Wolverine's integrity. Ryan Reynolds is a genius. They kept Wolverine's integrity in Deadpool and Wolverine, and Deadpool stayed true to Deadpool. And so what the crossover we got was beautiful because of that. And I'm saying right now, you don't need to Marvelize DC because we just saw Deadpool crossover with Wolverine. And if you use Deadpool to cross over, the Snyderverse, for example, will work with Deadpool because Deadpool's that guy. He can fit into almost any place. The other character that they were supposed to be able to do that with was Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn's another character, something like Deadpool. She will speak. She will speak to the fourth dimension. She will speak in, and she can fit in almost anywhere. But the way how they did her in the DCEU kind of forfeited that. They fucked it up. All right. She was supposed to be as violent or more or equally as violent as Deadpool is. Deadpool is an extremely violent guy. He's jokey. He talks a lot, but he's extremely violent. He kills a lot of people. Right? And Harley's supposed to be crazy. She's supposed to be out of her mind. So she's supposed to be able to kill people. And they dialed it back with Birds of Prey. They dialed that shit back. You shouldn't have done that. She's supposed to kill. Let her kill. And, she's kind of unpredictable. She's supposed to be that way. When we saw her in Studio Squad, when she tried to stab Batman, remember? She was knocked out and she got up and she tried to stab. That's Harley Quinn. To me, that's Harley Quinn. She looks vulnerable, but she's dangerous at all times. And to me, that's her. I didn't get that in the Suicide Squad either. I didn't get that feel. She felt more like a Hollywood star than she felt like, And even with Birds of Prey, she felt more like the feature, and she was supposed to be, yes, you're the feature, but you're supposed to be kind of like, I don't know. She was dialed back, in my opinion. That's all I'm saying. If she's supposed to kill, let her kill. You know, and that stuff that was rated R, it wasn't rated R. That was PG-13. It was dialed back too much, too much. You know, but it is what it is. So that's what I had to say to you guys. James Gunn, Zack Snyder. The picture is cool. Hearing stuff's happening, but I do think it's because Gunn's movie doesn't look like it's going to do well. And I think Zack's kind of showing up on the scene a little bit, and we'll see. I don't know if the DCU will be around much much longer. I don't know, man. It looks like it's gonna be dead on arrival unless some radically dramatic thing happens between now and then. Maybe they do post-production, they listen to everybody, and they try to clean it up as best as they can. You know, because it looks like it's gonna be dead, bro. Damien Adams says, get in touch with Sylvester Stallone and make Hollywood great again committee and tell him about Peter Gunn. I went, you can do that too. Not me. No, Sylvester. You know, there's also this guy, I forgot what his name is. They're actually not even looking to be in Hollywood anymore. They're looking to move to Texas and start shooting films in Texas. Just like how in Georgia, they're shooting, they have like a series of places kind of like Hollywood where you can shoot stuff. They're thinking of doing it in Texas as well and telling stories there. It's kind of decentralizing Hollywood then, you know, or entertainment. So people not dependent just on this system. Because Hollywood, oh, that's a long story. Hollywood's an interesting place. They're interesting people in Hollywood. Nice people in Hollywood. They're very nice people in Hollywood, but there's some very, oh my God, people in Hollywood. That's all I got to say about that, you know. And I think mostly the executive arm and also, oh boy. Oh Lord. It goes all the way up, man. It goes all the way up. All you got to do is just look into, what's his name? Jeffrey Epstein. Check out Jeffrey Epstein, and you will begin to understand. I got so much literature and stuff right now on what they've been doing in Hollywood, man. It's not cool up in there in terms of the content that's coming out of there, you know. But there's a lot of people in Hollywood also they're not playing that tune, and they don't ride to that drum, and they don't beat to that drum, and they don't like it. So, and there's so many people are employed there, and they're trying to go, as we all know, they're trying to move towards AI. They're trying to move towards artificial intelligence to make movies and stuff, so they don't have to hire all these people. And I'm going to say this. I'm really real about it. The Epstein list coming out. If they let out the Epstein list, I don't think they're gonna amend that Epstein list. Same thing with JFK. They're not gonna give you the information you need to know about JFK, because I'm telling you right now, the Epstein list involves the highest people in the land and the highest people in the land, and that list, they use that list for leverage. All right, so nope, now. Yeah, I mean, oh boy. There's a lot, man. There's a lot of stuff, you know. It's a lot of people. I mean, it's very dangerous. Let's just put it that way. But all of it was to control us. It's population control. They're trying to control us. They're trying to influence our minds because they know we're the majority. We outnumber them by, I mean, it's infinite outnumbering, right? The people who actually are involved on the internet and social media and so on, it's billions and billions and billions of people. You know, China has its own thing, Russia has its own thing, but the point is, it's still billions and billions and billions of people. So, you know, it's all about mind control, trying to keep you in check, at least until they can replace you, because you're replaceable. We're all replaceable. The jobs we do, machines can already do it, and probably better than we do it. We're replaceable. And I remember Barack Obama saying that that what happens when all the jobs that we used to do, as well, it's happening already in government, is replaced by AI. AI is doing all these jobs, and what are we going to do? What's humanity going to do? So it's already here. Glenn Beck said Kash Patel will release it. I mean, they'll release something. Let's put it that way. They'll release something. But certain people are not going to be involved because they're still, that's leverage. That's like telling me the FBI was going to release some files, declassify certain things. True to some degree, but I'm sure they tamper with it before they declassify it. They have the records, so they can do it. They can do that. I don't think they're gonna release the JFK files as they are. And I'm talking about JFK. I'm really serious about JFK because JFK, it's not just the Bay of Pigs, ladies and gentlemen. There's more going on there. And I mean, all you gotta do is look at the heads of the companies. Look at the heads of the companies and see what they all have in common. Just start doing that. Start looking at heads of companies, big prominent companies in the United States, whether it's media, whether it's the pharmaceutical industry, whether it's online, Google, whatever. Start looking at those people. You have to look at those people. Yeah, follow the money. That's right. Follow the money, and you're going to find out the truth. You're going to find out the truth. It's there. It's in plain sight. And we've been told something else, and we've been told we should not comment on certain things. But, Kanye West was just recently backed up by Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler actually backed up Kanye. And Adam Sandler, as we all know, is Jewish. So that's interesting, throwing his support behind Kanye, and Kanye be saying some stuff, man. It's not socially acceptable stuff. People even call him anti-Semitic. But he been saying a lot of stuff. And if you pay attention to that, your eyes gonna open, you're gonna realize what's going on. It's just what it is. And I'm not saying that all the people involved in what's going on are necessarily, they have bad intentions. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying a lot of it's interesting. I'm not going to say no more about that, but you should, you should, who is another person who knows about this stuff? What's his name? Jeffrey Sachs. Jeffrey Sachs. He's the economist. Check out Jeffrey Sachs. Jeffrey Sachs knows quite a lot of stuff. He's a cool dude. He's Jewish, and he's an interesting guy. Let's just put it that way. He speaks. He doesn't put water in his mouth. He's dealt with he's dealt with governments all around the world. So a lot of things he's about to say, they're very interesting. And yes, he's kind of very anti-imperialist, anti-American, somewhat, in terms of the governments of America. But and I do know Donald Trump is. I will agree with Damian Anton-Vincent on this, and I know some of you guys may be Democrats or whatever, but it really doesn't matter. I'll tell you this: they're trying to. I think Donald Trump particularly is trying to break up the way how the government has been functioning, because it's been functioning. The government has been functioning in the U.S. at least. It's been corrupt, horribly corrupt, and in some respects, he needs to break it up so that it doesn't function the way how it usually used to function, right? And Elon Musk is also sort of one of the people brought in to sort of disrupt that and follow the trail parts of corruption. You see, they dismantled U.S. aid, which we know, and they even discussing it in Congress right now. Literally, there's a direct connection between that and all the wars that have happened in the Middle East and around the world, and how corrupt that has been. So that's a good thing that they did. So there's a lot of good things they're doing, policy wise. But and even what's happening in the Middle East right now with Donald Trump is has kind of done even before he came into office, and even what's happening in the Ukraine right now. I don't want to talk about these things right now. This is not the venue for it, but he's doing a lot of good things. But he's also, I mean, he makes one. I mean, he can lose all the goodwill if he makes some bad moves. And then Elon Musk, he paid $230 something million into Trump's campaign, and he's gonna get every single penny and some back. Trust me on that. Oh yeah. Elon's, oh my God. So anyway, that's that. I don't want to talk too much about Trump or that. This is not supposed to be a political channel, talk about politics necessarily right now. I usually do that if I'm doing Free Palestine, but that's not in, if you notice, this is not in this stream. So I'm not really addressing that. But it's good that we can, I hope we can stay open-minded to the fact that, you know, George Lucas said it way back in the 70s. Way back in the 70s, George Lucas understood what was going on. And the Star Wars franchise is going down the tubes purposefully. They're trashing George Lucas stuff purposefully. You know, my thing is, I was saying that James Gunn, it looked like he was purposefully destroying the DC brand. Like he was this mole brought in to destroy. And then all of a sudden he's with Zack Snyder in a picture. And they literally would, like, seems as though they were doing business of some kind. So we'll see where this goes. I don't know, man. All I can say is, I know Damien will love me for this part. Burn, baby, burn. You know why? You know why I say that? You know why I say that? And some of you gonna be like, man, look. How many years we've been telling them, do not Marvelize DC. Marvel is Marvel, DC's DC. Right? Marvel's Marvel, DC's DC. What are you doing? Why are you going in this direction? Since Justice League 2017, and then they just pressed the accelerator. We were hoping that with Zaslav and this new regime, you know, we would move away from that and we would actually restore this. Nope. They doubled down. And so the chickens have to come to roost at some point. I'm sorry. That's just what it is. So if Superman goes up in flames, it makes maybe, let's say it makes half of its budget. I know some of y'all looking at me like, what? Nah, at least it will make $500,000, $500 million or something like that. I am saying it's going to make somewhere less than 200 million for sure. I don't see that movie making more than, I don't see it crossing 200 million. I think that movie is going to stay below $200 million. It's too cheap looking. You know, you can get away with that more in Marvel, like the recent movie that they put out, Captain America and the New Frontier, whatever it's called, New World Order, whatever it's called, I can't remember. That is going to make probably maybe, I don't know what it's making right now, but if it gets anywhere near maybe 500, 600 million, gets a break even, maybe makes a little profit, 700 million. It did well. This movie that's coming out, this Superman movie has to make over close to $900 million. I think it has to make $800 something million. And that's a tall ask, ladies and gentlemen, for a reboot. You're rebooting everything. Reboots generally somewhere between 300 million and 600, 500, 600 million. Okay? Because you're starting something afresh. Right? So when Man of Steel fell within the realistic figures for a movie that's rebooting the franchise. All right. Batman Begins. I think Batman Begins made it just broke even. I think it was rebooting a franchise. So to reboot a franchise and make $1 billion rebooting a franchise, that doesn't happen. So that's not realistic at all. So anybody saying that, they're crazy. And this movie is doing so horrible with its marketing campaign that, like I said before, I only see it making like $100 and something million. I don't see it coming off the ground at all. This movie, you know, it the problem. Okay, so Captain America, New First, whatever it's called, I can't remember. They had Hulk in it, right? Hulk draws attention, Red Hulk, and then on top of that, it's coming off a successful Captain America franchise, so it had all this boost and this goodwill behind it, right? When it comes to Superman, the last couple of movies that Superman was in, they flopped. Black Adam, we had Black Adam, The Flash. Where we had Superman again? In some other movie, I can't remember. Way up here. So you're talking about dealing with a brand which has had two lows when the brand was there. It's a very difficult brand to pull off because everybody's so picky about Superman. He's so well known. It's hard. So when James Gunn came with this, what on earth was that? A diaper? What the hell is that? Why are you going to boxers? Is that a boxers on the outside? What the hell is that thing? It's so big. I was like, oh my God. So you're not going for looks, that's for sure. Right? You're going to try and show in the story why this Superman is worthy of being called a Superman, right? Okay, fine. My thing was this. He said already he thinks that, comic book characters are the dumbest things ever, but he believes that there's virtue you can bring out of them. You can bring something out of the story. So this is his approach to Superman. Superman's an underdog Superman. Clearly, he's an underdog Superman. I get that. I get all this, right? So that's why we see him in his weakest point. And hopefully we build up until we see him at his glorious point. This is the point that Gunn is doing. This is what he's trying to do. What I'm saying, though, is that and it's an interesting take. I'm not going to lie to you. It's an interesting take on Superman in the sense that how it's executed is a totally different story. But he realizes he can't do that high standard Superman. He's not going to be able to do that. So he's going to try and build off of a Joe like everybody else out there, a guy that's like everybody else out there. I guess he has a modernized hairstyle for Clark Kent or whatever. An everyday Joe. And what he's trying to do is say this everyday Joe, he could be Superman because he's not violent. He's not trying to kill people. He's trying to heal and save and see the beauty in things, right? He's Ratcatcher, for example. So this is the idea that he's pushing. And certain people are buying into it, and a more gentle Superman, a more genteel Superman, a Superman looking at the beautiful things in life and hovering on that instead of meditating on the negative things, that kind of thing, right? So that's the Superman he's going with. Now he's getting bashed left, right, and center, and this is the difference. So everybody else in that world is violent, killing, whatever, and this guy is the opposite of that. That's what makes him stand out, right? So that's Gunn's Superman. And in its essence, again, it's not a bad take. I'll be honest with you. As a Christian, we're not trying to be violent. We're not trying to hurt other people and stuff. So we see as soft and weak and all of that stuff. So I get what he's trying to do. It's the execution of it that's going to be critical. And that's such a fine... He doesn't... See, people feel that you can just do Superman. It's not easy like that. Superman has certain attributes about him, and I have talked about it already, so I'm not going to go back into that. But Superman's not just it's just not a person you can just, okay, I have this concept, I have this idea, I get this actor, so we're going to try and execute that. It's a unique take, great, and all that. And you think you can just execute that just like that. You have to be able to execute it with a certain degree of precision is the word I'm looking for. right? Even with the tools you have to hit it. You have to hit the notes. You have to hit the notes. There's certain notes you have to hit in the story. Directors and writers of note will never work with Pedo Man. Well, the thing about it is you have to take notes from him if you're working under him. If you're working separate to him, and like somebody was saying, it seems as though Zack is a power player in there. It seems as though he's getting money from somewhere so he could finance his films. Could be Turkey Al Sheik. But the point is that, and maybe it's that sway that has caused this meeting to happen with James Gunn. It could be something like that going on. So, if you finance your own thing, and Warner Brothers doesn't, all they have to do is distribution, all of a sudden the Snyderverse is a possibility, right? It's a possibility because they're not putting out money to produce the film. They're only putting out money to distribute it. No loss there, and they're sharing the profits. So just like how you do with Godzilla versus Kong and all these legendary films and all of them. So I'm saying that maybe that's what's going on. Who knows? What I do know is this, that, and Turkey Al Sheik is a Snyder fan, by the way. And they're supposed to do, I believe, a UFC film. So that may be what's happening. Who knows? What I can say is that the reckoning will be televised. What I can say is that the best possible thing they could do, because I'm telling you, everybody agrees with this. It looks like Superman is going to flop. Okay. So can James Gunn work with other people? Can he open up his mind? Because I'm sure he's getting pressure from Zaslav. I'm sure Zaslav's putting pressure on him. I heard they weren't very impressed with his movie on seeing it. So that means that he's got to bring something else to the table as DC head. See, if he had gotten a couple of those early DC movies, particularly Joker Part 2, to make money, I think he'd be sitting better. But he hasn't produced anything as a DC head. You're a DC head. You're not a DC director now. You're a DC head. Something got to hit. And we don't want to hear about TV. We're talking about movies. That's where you get the majority of your money. So something got to hit there. And nothing has hit so far. And he's been hired in 2022. It's now 2025. It's almost 3 years. It's almost 3 years. By October this year or November, it's going to be 3 years. What you got to show for it? So he got this time window. Everything was separated out there. All the other movies, anything that was competing with him is out of the way. Here's the Superman movie's going to drop. If that movie does not perform, if it doesn't perform, after getting all that clear, what's the use even trying to move forward with anything? Superman's the foundation of the universe, right? If they can't launch off of Superman, what are we wasting our time with? Right? Maybe Gunn could do TV. I don't know. But it doesn't have a future. So, and I don't see it having a future. I don't see it, I just don't see it hitting. That's the sad thing. And it's sad for DC. As Damon is saying, it's like the stock is falling. Yeah, DC stock. I don't even know what DC stock is today. It's probably under $10 still. So, and Zaslav's selling everything to try and keep the boat, keep the boat afloat. You know what I mean? So it's sad, but this is the state of DC, right? And James Gunn, pulling Zack Snyder in or trying to get Zack Snyder associated with him, it's not going to be enough. You got to actions speak louder than words. So we're going to find out what they plan to do, and they better express it to the fans and the people. Let them know if their intention is to move on in some way, shape, or form with Zack Snyder involved, then we want to know that. We want to know that. I definitely think that Zack Snyder is important to DC. I don't know why they got rid of him and left him out of the DC loop for so many years. I think he's very important to DC. I don't think he's the only director that should be in DC. I think there's many other directors I could mention right now who, even if they didn't do well with the sequels, are worthy to be back in DC. I think y'all may not agree with me on this, but James Wan, Patty Jenkins. I would love to see Rick Famuyiwa in there, but I don't know. He was doing something with Marvel, I think. Um, um, Todd Phillips, even though his Joker 2 didn't do well, I think Todd Phillips. Now, I'm not saying he should do a Joker sequel, but something. Maybe something in DC, We're hearing about, directors. In other words, what I'm saying is DC should be a place where, and like Damien had said a while back, we shouldn't have even had a DC Studios. We shouldn't have even had a DC head, but they organized it like Marvel, so here we go. But what should have happened was Abdi and Lucas should have been the people who these people go to do their original movies, their original takes, and that kind of stuff. That's what should have happened. And we should have been putting out a lot of DC movies now, and they shouldn't have been flopping. At this point in time, after Zack Snyder's Justice League came out and the 2 and 3 would have been already out, and we'd have moved on, and we'd be telling other stories. Some of the stories, some of you will vibe with, and some of the stories you wouldn't vibe with, and there's nothing wrong with that. DC's were wide. It has a wide scope. So this is the mistake. I hope that people will try and patch up and really build relationships with people. Ray Fisher, he should be allowed to, do his thing. Gal, Ben, Zachary Levi. If you performed in DC, you're there. I was because some people will say Ezra Miller and Zachary Levi they need to be replaced, but I think Ezra should be have a stake at the table as well. I mean, people who have worked with these. Look what Ryan Reynolds did. He brought back Wesley Snipes. He brought back the young lady who was playing the lady Ben Affleck's former wife, right? He brought back these people. It shows you the Spider-Man Homecoming or whatever it was called. You had all these different Spider-Man. This is a tribute to these people. You should cherish the people who have done something for DC, and you should pay tribute to them, and you should treat them well, not dismiss them the way where everything went down was so distasteful. How Ben was treated, how Henry was treated. It's just very distasteful, even how Gal was treated, So it's you have an opportunity to fix that. He has the opportunity to fix that. Well, we'll find out if they're really having a meeting over the weekend or whatever, because obviously what they're doing is not working. And I think they realize that. And so we'll see what happens. But me personally, I think James Gunn, if he wants to keep his job and if he wants to have some kind of semblance of a universe of some kind, he should just allow the black labels to happen, have the Elseworld universes run, and give the directors who are supposed to be doing Matt Reeves. What's happening with Matt Reeves' movie? What's happening with Constantine? These are movies fans are interested in, right? I'm not interested in Matt Reeves' universe, but some people love it. They love his Penguin series. They love the quality that they got for the Batman. It's a quality film. I will not say no to that. I just don't think they pressed the anvil on it. I don't think there was anything unique or new about Batman we learned. The DC Studios meeting is today, actually. Well, good. Hopefully it's productive, and because Warner Brothers has an immense ability to screw up shit. That's just so good at it. Damien Antivista says Gunn needs to pay for what he did to Henry Cavill. Let's say he can undo that debt by allowing Henry Cavill to return to the Snyderverse and do his Superman movie, his version of Superman movie, or continue with Zack's movies. Then in a way we can forgive him. You see what I'm saying? If you undo your wrong, it's like Batman. He was hunting down Superman to kill him. But then he changed and he repented, and then he tried to make atonement after Superman died by pulling the leak together. So if James Gunn can make atonement somehow, some way like that, I'm willing to forgive him. You see what I'm saying? Doesn't mean I'm going to go see his movie. That's not what I'm saying. Okay? Because that's not my taste in movies. Gunn's movies, that's not my thing. Okay, I went and watched Wonder Woman 1984 because the Snyder Cut was coming out, and we'll never watch it again. Okay, so I'm not trying to be what I'm not, okay? But I'm just saying he'll get more goodwill. And maybe the movie doesn't do well, but then he gets wins off of the Snyderverse and off of, knowing that the Batman movie's coming, that Constantine is being done, that Swamp Thing, that they're doing it and doing Swamp Thing or something, because people like Swamp Thing. It's not the hottest thing out there. But the fact that you continue with, that's why I try to explain to people, a DC head doesn't have to be a successful director. He just needs to be able to lead DC in a manner that is lucrative. James Gunn doesn't even have to go back to directing as a DC head. He could just, Hamada wasn't a director, right? Jeff Johns wasn't a director. John Berg wasn't a director. So my point being, you don't have to be a director. You just have to be successful. You have to organize things so it's successful. And that's what James Gunn has to come to terms with. And, he's trying to do everything himself, and it's just not going to work. You're trying to, you shut down all these things. You shut down Superman and Lois, which was a very successful CW film. Why would you shut that down? You pause the Batman. The Batman's being paused because of your Superman movie. Come on, bro. That's selfish and shows inexperience. And you say you're trying to cut costs. No, you should be pushing the Batman. You should have been pushing the Batman sequels. You should be, trying to encourage wherever you could. You're like, what do you need, Mr. Matt Reeves? Because you want DC to be successful. You want a win under your belt. All right, you should be pushing along the project that J.J. Abrams is supposed to do with that Black Superman thing. I'm not interested. I'm not into it. But the point is, you should be trying to coordinate with other directors. You're not trying to give them notes. What you're trying to do is coordinate with these people so you can get a win. It doesn't have to be your project. It doesn't have to be your initiative. It just needs to be successful. You're a DC head. DC needs to be successful. And then you could try and do your thing. And you take your time doing your thing. You don't try and rush the Superman movie and you're trying to put all these characters in there. You take your time. Everybody criticized Warner Brothers and DC for pushing too fast. And you're just going to throw everybody you can throw everything at the wall, see what sticks. Come on, man. And that's the problem, So you now get to take your time and do a project that you want to do so that it may have moderate success. But at the end of the day, you have all this other movies making money for you and making you look good. So that when your turn comes to do something, it may not shine like the other movies. It's not a competition. It's about management, right? You do your little thing, your movie comes out, does okay, all right? And you build on that. And you tell your stories how you want to tell them. But I don't understand why someone who's been put in that position, but they say it's like, what do they call it? I forgot what they call it. But they say it's like, it's David Ayer said it was like very competitive in there and very political environment in Warner Brothers. I forgot what it's called right now. But that's what's going on in there. And it's too much politics in there. And there's less desire to see the company succeed. Everybody's looking out for their own self. They're not looking out for the company. That's the problem. Yeah, I know, Damien. You said that before. We don't need DC Studios. Could I just add Abdi and DeLuca, Warner Brothers Pictures, and let the individual directors with their different projects run their projects. You collective as a collective now. You go and you watch to see if what's good out there that could be put out, and then what needs to polish up, they get it polished up. And that's the thing. It's kind of sad. I know the creatives always have conflicts with the studio. This always happens. This has happened with Richard Donner. He had a hard time with his producers. So I understand. In fact, Richard Donner came in and made Superman with something great because it was like groundbreaking what he did at the time. The technology he used and the innovative way he put things together. It was one of the most expensive movies. People don't even know this. You know, the Richard Donner Superman 1978 at the time, it cost, I believe it was 80 or 90 million dollars, something like that. Warner Brothers gave 20 million dollars, so I think it was like 60 million or 50 million or some shit like that. It was a lot of money. It was a lot of money to make that movie, right? The movie made some beautiful returns for them, but it was a lot of money it cost to do it, and that's why the guys were saying, you know, they were trying to budget, stay in budget, and all this bullshit. But Richard Donner, to get the kind of quality you need, you have to put out the money. And that's why the films are looking so cheap these days, because they're not putting out the money to make the films. Or they don't know the ways to make the films affordable and cheaper and still keep the quality of the films. So that's what we're dealing with. And unfortunately, James Gunn, he's failed, man. He failed when it comes to the Superman thing. It is what it is, you know. Anyways, that's what I have to say. That's my 2 cents on it. If I had to say something positive about it, hopefully James Gunn takes this opportunity to restore the Snyderverse or to pitch out projects where DC fans, involving Zack Snyder at least, DC fans would be excited for them. Not him necessarily pitch it out. Zack Snyder maybe pitch it out, but open the door to the Elseworld universe or whatever he wants to call it. I don't care what he calls it. Once we get to see the movies, that's important to me. I don't think I'm gonna go see a Superman movie though. I spare me that. There's only so much. I have a threshold on how much trash I can watch. I'm sorry, people. I can't go see that. I'm glad I didn't see the Suicide Squad. I made the mistake and went and Wonder Woman 84 with Damian, and I'm never going to make that mistake again, which means I'm probably not going to watch Gunn Superman movie ever as a movie. I'm going to spare myself that. I don't need to see it. I don't need to see it. I just don't want to see it. I've seen Justice League 2017, and I made a whole set of excuses for it. You guys know this history with me. Y'all thought I was going crazy, you know, and it hurts my head to see it now. And how stupid I was at the time. It was like a WB shill. So anyway, that's what I got for you guys. I will catch you guys later. This is Christ, I am disciple getting out of there. It's an hour, 22 minutes, 30 seconds. I got to go to work. I'll see you guys later. God bless y'all. And if you need any LIVE products, remember you can get it from me. I'm gone. Peace.